Hi guys, this video is Libra and how to tell if they like you and also what they're like when it comes to love and relationships. This video is going to be longer and more in-depth. I do have shorter videos about the signs when it comes to love and relationships, things associated with that, and I'll link them up here when they're available. Because this is going to be a longer video, I'm going to be breaking it up into different parts, and I will include timestamps for that in the info or in a comment below. So we're going to be talking about who the Libra is as a person, what a Libra is looking for when it comes to love and relationships, how to tell if somebody's a Libra without having to ask for their birthday, what do Libras like when it comes to dating and relationships, what do they not like, how can you tell if they're interested in you, how can you get them to be interested in you or at least get them to notice you, and how can you tell if they're just not interested? Libra. They just love love. I feel like I always say that, but it's true. A Libra is born anywhere between September 23rd and October 22nd. If you're on the cusp of either of those days, just look in my info down below and you can click and find what your actual sun sign is. Libra is the sign of the scales, their element is air, their quality is cardinal, and they're ruled by the planet Venus. You can watch this video if your sun sign's in Libra, if someone you're interested in has their sun sign in Libra, or you can watch it if you know somebody has their moon sign in Libra or their Venus in Libra. It's applicable to that as well. So who is the Libra really? A Libra wants balance. They want harmony in their life. They want to feel like things are set beneath their feet. Libras really require balance, but the problem is a lot of the times they don't know how to get that balance that they're seeking. They don't know what direction to go in order to achieve it. They have this picture in their mind of the way that they want things to be, and this can be, when it comes to relationships or just in general regards. And it's kind of like, if you're doing a painting, they have this idea of this very specific color that they want to achieve on the paper. And they can see that color in their mind, they know what color they want to use in their painting, but for some reason they can't quite figure out what other colors were needed to make it and how to get the color from here onto the paper. And I know that's a very random example, but I feel like it kind of describes how Libras are in a lot of ways of life. They have this imagery in their mind and like ideas and ways that they want things, but sometimes it's hard for them to kind of pinpoint exactly the way they want something in, reality and how they can get it, from this abstract idea to a concrete thing in their lives. Not only do Libras want harmony, but they want peace. Libra is associated with the 7th house of compromise, and also the 7th house has a lot to do with conflict, but Libras don't tend to like conflict, although if it is necessary to go through conflict in order to get to a compromise, then they will do it, but they don't like it. If it's something unavoidable, then they will put up with it, and Libras can be argumentative at times, but it's not something that they enjoy doing. Libra is an air sign and they really love connecting with other people on an intellectual level. They like to have in-depth conversations, philosophical chats. They tend to be friendly and they do come across as really friendly, and you might think that they're quite social and love to be around hordes of people, but in reality, Libras do prefer that one-to-one time with other people. It can be a bunch of people. They might have a ton of friends and family members, romantic partner that they like to have these one-on-one times with, but they like to have those, intimate moments and conversations and experiences with other people. Libras can be social and they're very intrigued by people. Libras and Aquarius have this in common where they just love to analyze people and kind of get into the inner workings of why people are the way they are, why humans act the way that they do, why dogs do this thing the way that they do it. There can be a lot of depth there, but they're just very intrigued by all of this. Despite this, like I was saying, they do prefer that intimate setting. They don't mind small groups, but they really aren't the type to love being, surrounded by a ton of people at once. It can be overwhelming for them and just not enjoyable. So Libra, I wouldn't describe them as a dependent sign at all, but I also wouldn't really call them independent. I mean, they can be, but they kind of prefer to be one of two. They like being in a partnership of some kind, and it doesn't always have to be a romantic partnership, but they like working as a pair or working as part of a team to, achieve something. Libras do tend to be the type of sign that can get lonely. And again, they prefer to go about things with another person or a couple of other people as opposed to doing it, by themselves. I mean, some Libras can be more of the lone wolf type, but a lot of Libras do tend to be part of a partnership of some kind. Libras find their environment very important. It's somewhat similar to Cancers in that whatever it is that they consider their home, they want it to be well suited to them. But in addition to this, Libra is very tasteful. They tend to have really good taste. They're probably like the They have the best taste in the zodiac typically, and they really have a great eye for beauty and style and for what makes for a good environment or atmosphere. Honestly, their homes or their rooms or whatever, they tend to be lovely. Lovely. But Libras can be really hard on themselves if things are out of place, if there's too much clutter, if things are a mess, if things are not fitting into the aesthetic that they are wanting them to fit into. It's even things like that, like, their paint on their wall doesn't match their coffee table, that can throw them out of whack and make them feel unbalanced. And this might not seem to a big deal to other signs, but to a Libra, it is a big deal. And it does affect their happiness and their ability to feel content in life. Whatever it is, they have to figure out what makes them feel balanced and secure in their environment, including the people that they surround themselves with. They just need things to feel, again, peaceful, at ease, harmonious, beautiful, lovely. And that is important to them, and it's important to their overall well-being. I think I mentioned this earlier, I may not have, but Libras can be indecisive. Again, they have this idea of what they want, but they go back and forth about how to get what they want, or they go back and forth about what it is that they actually want. Do they want things to be this way, or do they actually want them to be that way? What's going to make them feel the best? They are the scales. They're constantly tipping one way or the other and trying to find, that happy medium, that happy balance in all areas of their life. A lot of times this can create problems for them because, Libras are all about balance, but seeking that balance and finding that balance and figuring out what makes them happy, what makes them content can be, a long standing challenge for them, I guess. So, they might go through different careers, they might go through different relationships, they might move around a lot. They're always trying to figure out the best setting for them and the best people to surround themselves with. So we've been talking about Libra's environment being appealing, but also important to a Libra is their physical appearance being appealing. A lot of Libras tend to be naturally attractive, especially if you see somebody with like a Libra rising, or a Sun and Libra rising. But a lot of Libras, if you look into it, they do tend to be physically attractive in some way. And even if they're not, they do tend to carry themselves in a way that is appealing to others, whether they just dress really nice, they are always just well groomed, and their hygiene is, perfect. Libras, they can chat about, very deep things at times, but they can be vain as well and a bit shallow, and they can focus on shallow things or become fixated on them, like, is my nose too big? Is my hair, not the right color? They can focus on these things and let it bother them. They are hard on themselves, and they can pick at themselves and their appearances and also, their partners as well. Again, Libras are smart, and I'm not saying they're not, but they do enjoy a little bit of gossip and a little bit of drama. They don't mind being a little shallow at times and being a little gossipy and, hearing the tea. Like, that's enjoyable for them as well as a conversation that's about, people's philosophical beliefs or like deep held morals. Again, they like the balance. They like a little bit of both. I always think of Libra as a mix of the peacemaker as well as the pot stirrer. Again, they like drama, and they'll put their little, spoon in the pot and give it a stir every so often to keep things exciting, and because they just can't help themselves from getting involved sometimes in other people's business or their own. But they also want things to be peaceful as well. Like, they will get involved in other people's issues in order to try to mediate and solve things, or, their friends or their own selves, but they like to keep the peace as well as stir the pot. So they kind of go back and forth between those two things. Just as much as they like to keep the peace and stir the pot, they can be very kind people, very generous, very compassionate, but at the same time, there are Libras and there are moments that Libras will have where they can be a little bit snarky, a little passive aggressive, get into it with somebody a bit. Just not all Libra energy is peaceful and harmonic, like I keep talking about. A lot of Libras can struggle to find what makes them feel at ease, and Libras can have a darker side that comes out, and I feel like that isn't touched upon as much when I hear about Libras. It's all about them being peacemakers, and Libras can be judgmental. They can be, like I said, snarky. They can even be cruel at times. They're also compassionate, but I feel like they're one of those signs where sometimes they can contradict themselves. They just go back and forth in their nature and, how they're feeling one moment as the next, and they can have kind of two different sides to them. I do think though, and this goes for like Libras I know personally, it's usually the more positive side that you see more often. It's just that sometimes I feel like it's unfair to think of Libras as being, perfect and having it all together all the time, because a lot of times they do have that other side, just like every other sign. Libras do want the truth, as well as the scales. They can be associated with justice, and they want the truth of any situation. They don't want to be lied to, and even though sometimes they don't like to live in the reality of the world, they do want to know what's truly going on behind closed doors, and just they don't want to feel like something's covered up to them and they don't fully know. They can kind of be like Scorpios, where if something really interests them, they will dig to find out the truth of it. The only difference is Libra's attention can be drawn elsewhere just like that. They can be a little bit scattered, whereas Scorpios tend to become more fixated or even obsessive about things. That doesn't typically persist with a Libra, but they do, once they get the truth, they're kind of on to the next, but they can definitely dig and be very involved in things that they're interested in. Lastly, since we're talking about love, and I think this is important, Libras like to be admired. They like to be flattered. They love to be complimented. They can even be a little bit whiny about it and that they kind of need it at times, or they can fish for compliments and stuff like that. But they really crave, people's admiration of them. They love to feel loved and they love to feel appreciated. They want to be like one of their paintings. But really, they do tend to be, they can see the beauty in the world. They can see things in an artistic kind of way. And they want others to see the beauty in them and see, and I don't just mean the beauty of like the physical appearance. I mean the full entire beauty of a person. And they want to be admired and really discovered by other people and really known. Libras tend to be well liked, they have a very natural charm. People tend to be drawn to them, but sometimes they can be overly focused on themselves and they can kind of expect admiration or acknowledgement without giving it in return or without really earning it. And because I don't want to end this on a bad note, a lot of times Libras can definitely earn the admiration and acknowledgement, but sometimes they kind of expect it when they haven't really, put in the effort in order to receive it. That's all I'm saying. So, my chair is so squeaky. Let's move on to the good stuff. What are Libras like when it comes to love and relationships? What do they want in a relationship? What are they looking for when it comes to love? Absolute perfection, or else thank you, next. Libras can have a fuzzy idea of what they want in relationships, or they can also have a changing perspective of what they think will make them happy when it comes to love. Relationships and love are very important to Libras, so they definitely want to find the right partner for themselves. It just sometimes they have the idea of what the ultimately perfect partner will be, and they can be kind of picky about who they, end up being with. And the other thing is, sometimes they have this really fixed idea of what they want in love and relationships. Sometimes they can just be so sure that, this is what they want in relationships and whoever they're dating kind of has to meet those standards. But then those things kind of shift and change and then they want this instead. And that can kind of be, an ongoing issue with Libras when it comes to their romantic life. Their perception of what they want in love often changes, and that can be confusing for their partners and especially for themselves. And then sometimes Libras can come across as not knowing what they want when it comes to relationships, but it could boil down to that they just haven't found the right person for them yet. They haven't found someone, to strike that balance with. Libras don't ever want to feel like they're settling, and this can make it tough for them to fully commit to someone because they want things to feel, perfect and right. Libras can be known to test out relationships and get into relationships without being fully sure that that's what they want. They can kind of be the type to sometimes keep one foot kind of out the door or keep their heart open just in case something else comes along. And I know that sounds terrible, and I'm not saying every Libra is like that. I'm just saying that that can be the case sometimes, especially for younger Libras or Libras who, aren't really ready to settle down yet but like the idea of being in a relationship. A lot of Libras enjoy being in a relationship, but a lot of times they'll go back and forth on whether or not they're with the right person for them. And they don't want to see themselves in an unhappy relationship years down the road because they settled. Sometimes I feel like Libras can keep people on the back burner even while they're in a relationship, and this could be for, a multitude of reasons. They might keep exes or somebody they went on one date with or friends or something on the back burner because they saw potential in them and they think maybe if they grow or change a little more, there could be the chance that they could end up with this person. The other thing is, like, I know Libras that will keep exes in their lives and stuff along those lines, and it could just be because, you know, they want to keep the peace, they want to be on good terms with people, they don't want to have people that they've just cut off cold, they don't like dealing with conflict, so it could just be that. Or sometimes they keep people, you know, on the back burner, so to speak, because, you know, these people are still interested in them and think they might have a chance, so they like that admiration or flattery, and a part of them is like, you know, maybe it could happen in the future. But moving forward, in relationships, Libras really want to feel the romance. They don't want just a connection or even a great conversation. They need the magical romance. They need that magic in the moment, you know, they need that spark. Libras are very charming people, but they also expect to be charmed in return. If they don't feel that spark that I was talking about, you know, they might continue to date somebody for fun, but there's not going to be any potential down the road. They have to feel, you know, that romantic connection with another person in a way that feels like, you know, this could be the one. Like they want to feel like they're with the one. If a Libra is remotely interested in dating somebody, you know, they move things along quickly. Like I said, they like to be in relationships, and sometimes you can be in a relationship with a Libra without them being fully committed. Sometimes they like to kind of test out what a relationship could be like, and then, you know, but it doesn't necessarily mean that they're 100% committed in their mind. They are the type that tend to move on the quicker side. They don't really see the point. If they like somebody, what's the point of waiting around or, you know, stalling things? Like, they want to get to the good stuff and enjoy the love, the romance, you know, all those good things about a relationship. Of course, this can present issues because, like I said, Libras do tend to be indecisive and go back and forth on things. So sometimes they can jump into something with somebody and then decide, it's not really what I want, or, you know, the relationship isn't really what I thought it was going to be, and then they kind of get cold feet. They're the type of sign that's always kind of questioning, you know, is this person right for me? Is this person truly the one? Is this the person that I want to marry? Because, you know, the 7th house is the house of marriage. You know, the 5th house is romance, but the 7th house is the long-term relationships, and that is Libra. They're focused on who's going to be best for me for, you know, the rest of my life. Who's my best connection? Who's the one for me? Who am I meant to be with? And I feel like I might be coming across a little negatively, and I really don't mean to. I mean, I think honestly, it's very endearing and it's special that Libras, they really see love as something special and something that's not worth settling for, and they really want to be in love and experience real love, and they're not gonna, you know, they're not the type to give up on that. In a relationship, a Libra needs to feel appreciated, and they really don't want to feel like their partner is taking them for granted in any way. Libras might be looking for a lot when it comes to love, but when they're in love with somebody, they also have so much to give. They can be really generous, kind, caring, compassionate people, and if they're happy in a relationship and, you know, they're in love, it's honestly a really great partner to be with. The problem, again, can just be figuring out who the right person is. And again, you know, I think sometimes Libras can get a little bit of a reputation for leading people on, but they like to test out the actual relationship before, you know, they are actually committed to the relationship, if that makes sense, which can be confusing for people that don't go about things in the same way. In a relationship, a Libra is, of course, looking for balance. They're really not the type of sign that needs to be in control. I mean, some Libras do, you know, like feeling like the more successful or attractive one in the relationship. But they're not like the type that needs to be in control or in charge in any way. They want a relationship to be equal. You know, they want to feel like things are fair. They will do a lot in the relationship and they don't mind doing some of the heavy lifting as long as their partner is also doing their equal share of the heavy lifting and they're both contributing equally. The effort has to be at the same level from both sides of the relationship. They want love and they want a relationship that's not only harmonious but isn't, you know, filled with too much contention, and they don't mind a little argument here or there, but they really can't be in a relationship where things are too volatile or there's just too much, too much fighting, arguing, stuff along those lines, things, you know, just not balanced, things, lots of disagreements, and things just not feeling like they're on an equal playing field. You know, they want things to be exciting and passionate and fun and thrilling, but they also really need things to feel peaceful as well. They want a relationship that feels right and with somebody that can appreciate things, you know, in a similar way that they can. A lot of Libras tend to be artistic or creatives in some way, and they really do well with a partner that kind of has that mindset in some way, shape, or form as well, and that can pay attention to beauty in the world and the good things and and be optimistic as well. You know, being with a partner that can be more cynical or focused on the negatives can really bring a Libra down. You know, A lot of Libras, they want to be married or in a long-term relationship, and it can actually, for a lot of Libras, happen later in life because it can be tough for them to find that right partner. I mean, if they do earlier, great, but it can be tough for them, and a lot of them can, go through a lot of changes of what they want and what they think they want, what they know they want before they kind of find that partner to settle down with. So how do you know you're dealing with a Libra without having to ask them their birthday? They'll just constantly be talking about love, relationships, or beauty. I'm just kidding, but honestly though, in my lifetime, when I've been talking to someone and they've guessed that they're a Libra, a lot of times Libras will talk about, their relationships or people that they've loved, and they will focus in on those types of topics, especially if they don't know you very well. It's just something I've noticed. Maybe it's my own personal experience, but it's just something I've picked up on. They just seem to like to talk about the topic of love, and love is a very interesting topic. I mean, I talk about it all the time on my channel, and I'm not a Libra. Like I said earlier, many Libras tend to be naturally attractive, and a lot of Libras, most Libras care a lot about their appearance. Even if they're not traditionally attractive, they tend to be well-groomed, they have really good hygiene, or they have really good fashion sense, they dress really nice. They might be really good at styling their hair. If they wear makeup, then they're good at that. If you're talking to a Libra, a lot of times they won't shy away from asking you questions. I feel like, again, Libras and Aquariuses, they are both air signs, but they tend to be similar in this way, whereas they're fascinated by human nature, and they won't shy away from asking more personal questions even if they don't know you very well. Some Libras can come across as blunt, but they really like to know why things are the way they are, why people are the way they are, who people really are, not just how they present themselves. Libras don't tend to be afraid of asking more personal questions. I mean, sometimes, yeah, it makes people uncomfortable, but Libras are interested in this sort of thing. They kind of can't help themselves, and why should they? And they want to truly know people. Again, Libras are very charming people, so you might spot somebody that really lights up a room when they enter it, even if they're not the loudest person in the room or the most showy. Libra tends to have a charming way about them. In some way, shape, or form. It could be, their appearance, it could be their demeanor. They do tend to be more of the elegant, classy sort, so that might be something that you pick up on. And again, people just gravitate towards them, even if they are quiet or shy. There's something about a Libra that kind of draws people into their, area of being. Weird way to phrase that. Libras can definitely have a flirtatious nature about them. Whether they're interested in someone or not, they kind of have this flirtatious, way of charming people. And a lot of times it isn't even intentional. It's just kind of the way that they come across and the way that they are. They tend to be alluring people naturally. You might be into something involving, something creative or artistic, or noticing things about the environment that they're in. Say you're at some type of social gathering and you see the Libra pointing out these specific type of flowers that are in a bouquet on a table or something. I mean, that's a very random example, as my examples do tend to be, but they might notice something like that. They might notice the quiet music in the background and mention it when other people didn't even know there was music playing. Stuff like that. They pick up on the, things going on in their environment. Again, you might notice that they have a really good fashion sense or that they're well dressed, but there's a lot of detail that goes into their appearance and how they come across and how they present themselves. They might be wearing brand name clothing, or their outfit goes together really well. Whatever accessories they're wearing go really well with their outfit. Stuff along those lines. They do tend to be quite fashionable. Not every Libra, but a lot of Libras in some way are good at presenting themselves, in a light that's attractive to people. Again, they might not tend to be the, most social person or loudest person in the room, but they don't tend to be shy. They can be quiet, and like I said earlier, they like the more intimate one-on-one settings. So even if they don't know you very well, they could definitely be the type to engage in a conversation with you that's, pushing past the typical small talk. They might be gossiping or stirring the pot a little bit. Again, they do love drama and excitement, so they're not going to shy away from that if the opportunity presents itself. They might ask you about your love life, ask you about your dating life, or talk about theirs. If others are arguing, they might be trying to mediate. They could be asking for, your opinion on something, what do you think about this? Because they can't make up their mind. So a lot of times I've noticed this, Libras can come across as flustered. And yes, they I'm going to say balance in this video more time than any other, but they like to feel balance and things are, even keel. And if But if they're not that way and they're kind of more seeking the balance and trying to find it, or if things are just currently off, they can come across as overwhelmed, scattered, or flustered. So what's a Libra's like? They like magical romance. They like the romance that's in movies and books. Like, that's what they want. They want that special spark and connection. And they want to feel like there's like fairy dust that's been sprinkled on them as they're on a date with somebody. They love to be admired, but at the same time, they want a partner that they can admire as well. They tend to want to date people attractive or successful in some way because they want to present themselves well, but they also want to present themselves well with their partners. So it's important that their partner is able to carry themselves well, equally as important as a Libra is able to carry themselves and present themselves well. They really like people that are even keeled, that aren't, too much high, too much low. Someone that can engage in all different types of conversation with them. Someone that's okay with constantly talking about, why people and their friends and why they are the way they are, why they're dating who they're dating. Like things like analyzing people and talking endlessly about different subjects. Somebody that isn't going to shut that down. Somebody who isn't going to be disinterested in that. They'll be interested in somebody that can share similar tastes in arts, culture, beauty, aesthetic, things along those lines. Somebody that tends to be more on the neat side than the messy side. They need someone who's fair and isn't trying to control them or boss them around in any way. At the same time, like I keep saying, Libras are very charming, and sometimes, they get away with things that they really shouldn't, and even they know this about themselves, and especially when it comes to relationships and dating, and they can actually appreciate a person that kind of calls them out, on any of their BS, but not in a way that's cruel or rude or yelling at them, or trying to start a fight, but just kind of points it out that kind of thing, does it in a way that's kind of gentle or joking around, but still calls them out. They can appreciate that. They really need their partner, or their potential partner to have good hygiene, take care of themselves. Somebody that neglects their appearance or doesn't care about showering or brushing their teeth, it's just not going to cut it for a Libra. They do tend to go for people that are more classy than they are crass. They want to be with someone that's respectful and also somebody that's kind and not rude to others. Again, someone who appreciates them and doesn't take them for granted, but is also okay with having, them do their share of the relationship as well as they do, their share. Somebody who can really have a relationship where both sides are putting in the equal amount of effort. They like somebody that's sure of themselves. Again, a lot of times Libras can have a hard time making up their mind. So somebody that's more, confident in their decisions all the time can be a turn on for a Libra. So what's a Libra's not like? They really don't like being bossed around or told what to do. And again, in a relationship, if they're putting in more of the effort into you than you are to them, it's a no. Somebody who's self-centered or more focused on themselves than they are the Libra or the relationship, they're gonna get the boot. They're not gonna be into somebody that doesn't, give them any compliments, or doesn't flatter them or admire them. They need it. They really do. And if somebody's not giving that to them, or if somebody is, not partaking in the romantic, ways of doing things, if they're not a romantic person or they're not even trying to be romantic, a Libra is not going to be as into it. Even if they're into somebody that's not, a traditionally romantic person, they still want them to at least put the effort in and give it a try. Somebody who lets the Libra take way too much charge of the relationship or kind of wants the Libra to be the boss, be in control, and kind of, take the reins of everything, they don't want that. They don't have a problem, putting their amount of effort into the relationship as long as it's going both ways, and I can't stress that enough. Somebody that's too loud or too volatile or too argumentative, somebody that's just too much in any of those departments, probably not going to be into it. Again, somebody that doesn't take care of themselves, has bad hygiene, stuff along those lines, the Libra's probably not going to be into that. Now, if somebody doesn't have a good fashion sense, they can work with that. They can give you suggestions on what haircut might look good on you. But if they're, giving you their advice and you're just not taking it at all, or you just don't care whatsoever, that's definitely something a Libra won't like. Somebody who doesn't want to talk or doesn't engage in conversations that a Libra tries to have with them. Too much practicality when it comes to dating and romance. You know, they need the stars, they need the spark. Too much logic, practicality, that's boring to them. They need the magic side of love. It cannot be all business. And someone that tries to force them into making a decision of any kind, but especially a decision about, you know, are we going to be together or not? Are we going to go on a date or not? Like stuff, you know, someone that's too forceful in trying to push Libras into making decisions that they don't want to make or they're not ready to make. Are they interested in dating you? For now, probably no. You know, it's tough because Libras, you know, you might be like, wow, they're flirting a lot with me, but that's kind of their natural way for a lot of Libras. So it can be tough to truly tell if they're actually interested in you. And again, not just temporarily interested in you, but let's just focus on, you know, are they interested in you in this moment? They might make comments to you about how perfect you are. And even if they don't literally call you perfect, they might be like, wow, you know, you do this, you do that, you have this, you know, have this way about yourself. And it's kind of almost comparing you to previous relationships in a way that's saying, you know, wow, I'm impressed by all of this. It's kind of like you're checking off their mental blocks of kind of what they want a partner to be. You know, it's like you have these qualities that they've been looking for and now they've found them in you and they're commenting on that or making that obvious in some way. They pick up on details about you. You know, they might notice something about you and comment on it. Or for instance, say you're really into cooking and you've only mentioned it a couple times or very briefly. They might show up with like a really nice cookbook that was, you know, they put a lot of thought into because you talked about being very interested in cooking Asian style food, and now they've bought you this really great cookbook and just kind of showed up with it. You know, it's little things like that. They can do thoughtful things for those that they care about and that they're interested in. And it doesn't necessarily mean that you're gonna like go buy you something. I'm just saying like that was an example that came to my mind, but little thoughtful things that they'll do for you or pick up on. They'll face reality with you. Again, they love the idea of love. They can get caught up in the idea of love. But if they're talking about more practical concerns with you, then they're definitely considering you for the long haul. So if you're in a relationship with a Libra and you're not even sure if they're actually fully interested in you, and if they're talking about, you know, when we live together, this is how we're going to pay the rent, like I'll pay this portion, you pay this portion, then they're definitely like thinking about you staying in their life for a long time. If it's all abstract stuff and, you know, mushy gushy romance stuff, then it's not necessarily a sign that they're more interested in you. When they start to talk about the more realistic or practical side of the relationship, that means that they are considering you as a real potential lifelong partner. So Libras love to engage in conversations, you know, and if they're interested in you, they're going to want to talk to you a lot. You know, you're going to go on the top of their list for the person that they send a text message to, the person that they call when they're bored. They're going to make time to spend with you. Libras, you know, they like to know other people's opinions on things, so they will ask you for your advice or your opinion about something before they make a decision on it. They'll start to make your environment kind of their own in a way. And, you know, it could be little things, it could be minimal, especially at first, but if they're thinking they're going to be spending a lot of time with you, then they're going to want, you know, your environment or even, again, like your appearance, your, you know, what you're wearing and stuff like that. They're not controlling. They'll just give you some suggestions if they think, you know, you could up your game a bit. But they'll kind of do these little things because they see themselves spending time with you and they want to feel content when they're around you or in your environment as opposed to their own. They seem relaxed around you, not bored or like, you know, distracted, but they seem relaxed but also engaged when they're around you. Like they're calm. I mean, if they're really interested, they might get a little flustered or something, but generally they tend to be more calm when they're in your presence. They'll introduce you to people in their lives, like their good friends, their family members, coworkers, whatever, because they'll want to hear those people's opinions on you. So how can you get them to notice you or get them to maybe consider you as a potential dating prospect? And again, you know, don't change yourself for anybody. I'm just saying, like, these are things that might kind of catch the attention of a Libra. Dress to the nines. But really, though, like, even if you're not into fashion or you don't know much about it, you know, make sure that you're at least taking a shower, brushing your hair, like putting on a nice outfit if you're going to be trying to pursue a Libra, because these are things they'll notice. You know, make sure you smell nice. Dab on a little cologne, a little perfume. Give them a compliment. And this is not the sign that's going to shy away from a compliment about their appearance. You know, some people, it doesn't mean anything to them. But a Libra, they like that. They like to be admired and flattered. And they put a lot of effort into their appearance. So if you say something about it, you know, that's going to get that's going to get their attention on you. Just do it in a way that's tactful and classy and not in a way that's like, you know, crude. Do something kind or thoughtful for them. Pay attention to details about them and then do something, you know, in regards to that. They'll appreciate that. Pay attention to their taste. And, you know, if you have similar taste in, say, like movies or something, bring that up. If you know they really like a certain brand of something, maybe bring them to that store to go shopping or like something along those lines. But pay attention to their taste in different, you know, things in life. They'll appreciate that. Be romantic. But seriously, like if you are trying to pursue a Libra and you want them to notice you, be romantic. You know, if you're not the typically romantic person, look it up online or something, but like figure out a way to kind of woo them a little bit. But if you're trying to get the Libra's attention, definitely err on the side of being more romantic than not. Don't be afraid to make a little bit of a gesture. That will definitely get their attention. Ask them on an actual date, you know, bring them to a nice cafe where the two of you can really talk and not be interrupted. Go somewhere peaceful like the ocean or something. But don't just like ask to chill, you know, at their house and then, you know, you don't even bother to really put on a nice outfit. Like do something that feels like a date, or ask them on a date. Like show them that you care about the romantic side of dating. Definitely ask them questions about themselves, and if they're prying into you and asking you questions, you know, don't brush them off. Get involved in conversations like that. That's what they like. They want to get to know you, but they also appreciate you getting to know them as well. And if you're asking them questions that are not your typical average questions, they're going to be very intrigued by that. So how can you tell if they're not interested and maybe it's time to move on? They don't flirt at all. Again, Libras have a flirty way about them a lot of the time, so if there's just no flirting going on at all, that's a clear sign. They won't go out of their way to talk to you. If a Libra is interested in you, they will, they'll be messaging you. They will be trying to spend time with you. They'll give you a call. They will hit you up if they're interested. They don't ask you for your opinions or your advice. They don't seem curious about, you know, what you like, your taste in things. They make more time for others than they do for you. If they're not, you know, making time for you in their day, then you're not a top priority. I mean, I feel like that sounds harsh, but it's just the way that Libras are. Like if they're interested in you, they're gonna figure out a way. If they can't physically spend time with you, they will make a point of even staying up late to make sure that they get some time to talk to you. They seem unhappy or drained or overwhelmed or tired when they're around you. They make a comment about, you know, your fashion sense, your haircut, your hygiene that's not flattering. They don't ask you personal questions and they don't pay attention to, you know, the small details about you. You know, a Libra is going to do that if they're interested. So that is a Libra, how to tell if they like you, what they're like when it comes to love and relationships. If you liked this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up and I will see you in my next video. Have a good day or night.